So we're jumping right into this idea of the AI entrepreneur. Is it just hype, or is there a real blueprint here for making, well, digital millions? The big question we're tackling is, can you really build a huge digital business from the ground up with AI basically acting as your co-pilot? Let's dig in and see what we find.
Okay, so let's start with a number. A huge one. 300 million. Yeah, that's the number of jobs that could be, totally upended by AI across the globe, according to some big reports. That's a number that's pretty hard to just brush off, right? And for a lot of people, that's where the fear kicks in.
But here's the pivot. That fear, that anxiety, it brings us to the central question of this whole explainer. Is AI this big, scary threat, or is it actually the biggest opportunity we've seen in our lifetime? The blueprint we're looking at today argues pretty strongly for the second one.
All right, so let's flip the script. Let's talk about the AI opportunity. Instead of worrying about being replaced, what if you could use these tools to create something from scratch? It really all comes down to a major shift in how you think about it.
And this quote right here, I am building a digital business that creates wealth and freedom, that kind of says it all. This isn't just about using some AI tools to be more productive at your 9 to 5. No, this is a whole different ball game. It's about stepping into the role of a business owner who uses AI to build two specific things: wealth and the freedom to live how you want.
So where does this blueprint come from? Well, the source is a webinar from a coach named Abdul Hakim, and his backstory is pretty important to understand the whole thing. He was a mechanical engineer, in a very traditional, structured career, and he felt stuck. So he used these very same strategies to pivot and build his own digital businesses. He made that jump from the old way to the new way.
Okay, so that's the what and the why. Now for the how. Let's break down the AI business blueprint itself. What are the actual steps?
It boils down to this 4-step method, and they call it the CASH method, which is pretty catchy. C is for create content and capture leads. A is for automate pretty much everything. S is for scale, growing fast with paid ads. And H is for humanize. This is the secret sauce, making sure there's a real person and real connection behind all the tech. So let's look at the actual AI tools that make each of these steps happen.
First up, AI-powered content creation. Look, the whole point here is to obliterate writer's block and creative hurdles. You've got tools like Gamma AI that can whip up an entire professional-looking presentation from just one sentence. You can churn out endless blog posts, social media updates, and get this, you can even create an AI-powered video clone of yourself. Think about that. You can be in hundreds of videos without you ever having to record them yourself. It's kind of wild.
Okay, pillar number 2, AI-driven marketing. And the tools here are just as mind-blowing. For example, you can basically clone a successful website in seconds. Not the content, but the layout, to give you a professional starting point. Or you could use AI to automatically tune up your LinkedIn profile so it's attracting clients 24/7. You can even have an AI act as your ad agency, creating the images, writing the sales copy, and finding the right people to show it to on Facebook and Instagram. It's nuts.
And the third pillar is AI-driven automation. This is where you build a machine that works for you. We're talking about building your own private community, like your own little Facebook, where you're in control. We're talking about AI chatbots that answer customer questions around the clock so you don't have to. And on a personal level, think about feeding a long YouTube video into an AI and getting back a perfect summary in seconds. It's all about leverage.
So that's the system, right? The blueprint. But theory is one thing. The big question is, does it actually get results for real people? Well, let's look at some of the testimonials, the so-called millionaire results.
All right, first up is a story from a beautician named Suba, and her situation sounds really tough. She said, I was struggling to pay my son's school fees. I mean, that's a super real, down-to-earth problem that a lot of people can understand. So, what happened after she used this system? Well, check out this number, 1.2 lakh rupees. That's about $1,400 US. And the craziest part? She reportedly made that in a single day after launching her own digital course. The speed of that change is what's really staggering here.
Or how about this one? A guy named Roger Ishii. His background is really interesting. From a fishing family, not super fluent in English, maybe not the person you'd picture as a high-tech entrepreneur. But listen to this.
For the first time, I launched my 80,000 rupee program. That's a high-ticket product. We're talking about $1,000.
And his result? 1 lakh rupees in his very first month. What stories like this suggest is that AI can be a great equalizer. It can help bridge gaps, whether it's language or technical skills, and let people create and sell valuable stuff fast.
Okay, so when you put all these pieces together, the blueprint, the tools, the results, what does it all mean? Let's pull back and ask a bigger question. Are we seeing the birth of a totally new kind of entrepreneur?
And this brings us to a key concept from the source material, a word you might not have heard: physical. It's exactly what it sounds like, a mix of physical and digital. And the idea is pretty simple. The smartest, most profitable businesses today aren't just one or the other. They have a foot in both worlds, and they use them together to make the most money.
And you want a perfect real-world example of this? Look at Amazon. We all think of the online store, right? The part where you buy physical stuff. But here's the surprising fact. That part of the business actually loses money or has super thin margins. It's designed to get you in the door. The real money, the massive profits, come from their digital side, Amazon Web Services, or AWS. So the physical part gets the customers, and the digital part generates the incredible wealth. That's Phygital in action.
So this all boils down to 2 very different paths you can take. You've got the traditional entrepreneur, high risk, it's a slow grind, you're limited by your physical location. Then you have this new model, the AI entrepreneur. Lower risk because you're using tested tools, you can scale up super fast, and your market is the entire globe from the moment you start. It's a fundamental shift from just building a product to building an automated system.
And that really brings us to the final question to leave you with. It seems like the technology is here. The blueprint exists. So maybe the question isn't, can it be done anymore? Maybe the real question is, what would you do with it? If you had an AI copilot that could handle all the tedious stuff, the content, the marketing, the automation, what problem out there in the world would you actually want to solve? Something to think about.